Do you know that the largest railroad in America is entirely owned by Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway? But why did Buffett pay nearly $40 billion to buy into a nearly 200-year-old industry? Well, for starters, there's not nearly as many railroads as you may think. In 1900, there were over 130 major railways. In the US today, it's about 7. In short, the industry has seen massive consolidation over the past century through acquisitions, mergers, and bankruptcies. The end result has been that the remaining railroads are some of the largest transportation corporations in America.
Yep, that is a problem, an absolute problem. So Congress, the president, and Warren Buffett, let's add him to the list. We haven't forgotten about him and so many others. Check out this tweet from Senator Bernard Sanders in November. The senator tweeted, Warren Buffett, the owner of BNSF Railway's parent company, became $1.38 billion richer yesterday. In one day, Mr. Buffett made twice as much money as it would cost to guarantee 15 paid sick days a year to every rail worker in America. The greed of the rail industry must end. Indeed, Senator, it absolutely must end. And furthermore, rail companies have estimated that it would cost roughly $688 million a year to provide 15 days of paid sick leave to rail employees who work long and erratic hours and are often expected to be on call 24 hours a day. To make matters worse, rail companies' attendance policies punish workers for calling out sick or taking a day off to see a doctor. This is coming from Jake Johnson of Common Dreams. Just flat out, rail workers, don't be human. You're robots. You don't get sick. You don't need to eat. You don't need rest. That is really what these owners of these rail companies are saying. This is another reason why the federal government should act, because these work conditions are untenable for these rail workers. Let's go on. Warren Buffett's BNSF, for example, has started using a convoluted system called high-vis, under which workers start with a point balance, then lose points if they're unavailable to work because they're sick. Damn it, don't get sick, rail workers. Have a family emergency or other reasons. If their balance hits 0, they can get a 10-day suspension. Ain't this some? They can get a 10-day suspension and a 20-day suspension if it happens again. Reaching 0 for the 3rd time in a 2-year period means getting fired. Jackson, I just can't. That's coming from Mother Jones. I can't with this. Just absolutely cannot.
Well, I think that one of the reasons why this may go unnoticed really by a lot of people until the last few days perhaps, or just the issues that railway workers face is because the railway industry is old technology. It's not sexy, it's not new, it's not taking us to the moon or the stars. So people don't pay attention to it. However, it's really one of the more important technologies and systems that we have in the country that brings everything that everyone uses all over. So it's one of the better investments anybody can make if they have the money. So as the managerial class is squeezing all these dollars out of people, as we just went over, they announced after their buybacks that they're gonna make a lot of profits for the shareholders. That's why. No, why not? The thing about power is, I don't care who you are. When you have the ability to do things just because you can, there's a good chance eventually you will. And that's why regulations and balance is so important, and that's why intervention is needed, because these people are doing things simply because they can, nothing more.
Isn't that the truth? And that's saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that is what we are seeing in this case. So Biden and corporate Dems, they cave to people like Warren Buffett. It's cruel and it is totally unacceptable. And that is why we continue to bring this to you here on Unbossed. We want you to know. While rail workers suffered, Buffett was too busy engaging in corporate greed and building Berkshire's Hathaway's portfolio. Here's a list of the shares the company bought in 2022, and you see them all. Occidental Petroleum, Chevron, et cetera, all of that stuff, just to enrich themselves at the expense on the backs and the bodies and the minds and the souls of the rail workers. And this is unadulterated, gluttonous corporate greed, and it's nothing new for Warren Buffett. Let's put up this headline: Warren Buffett, America's folksiest predator. You've got that right. He is a predator indeed. Dave Dayen's new book, Monopolized, shows how Buffett has normalized monopoly power, and the government is supposed to call the rules. They're supposed to break this kind of nonsense up, but they haven't. Buffett is the avatar of monopoly. This is a guy whose investment philosophy is literally that of a monopolist. I mean, he invented this sort of term, the economic moat, that if you build a moat around your business, then it's going to be successfll. I mean, this is the language of building monopoly power. And again, that's coming from David and Matt Stoller. All right, that is it. Okay, so let's talk about Bill Gates. Bill Gates owns he has the largest ownership stake at CN. So it's not just Buffett, we're looking at Gates. And in case you're wondering, CN is the Canadian National Railway, and it had problems of its own in 2022. Let's put up this headline: 750 signal and communication workers in Canada strike CN Rail for pay hikes and improved conditions. So we got workers doing this all over the country. Now, an agreement was eventually reached between CNR and the workers, and Gates has sold a sizable portion of his share. But it's another glaring example of how Buffett, Gates, and other billionaires continue to exploit workers and buy off politicians. Congress needs to act and hold these corrupt barons accountable. This is history repeating itself. Who were the tycoons of the Gilded Age? Meet the ruthless robber barons who made millions, gasping monopolists or American heroes. So this is nothing new. Oh my goodness, we got to continue to fight back against this, and that's why we're going to continue to talk about this on Unbossed.